This is a mock interview conducted by ForumIAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
Sir, may I come in?
Tanuj.
Yes, sir.
Please sit
Thank you
down,
so much,
Tanuj.
sir.
So, Tanuj, you are a B.Tech from IIT Roorkee.
Yes, sir.
You passed out in 18.
Yes, sir.
And then you worked for 2 years in Wipro.
Yes, sir.
How do you compare Wipro with the Infosys and TCS?
So there can be various parameters that can be taken while comparing both these entities. So firstly is the revenue, the revenue of Infosys and TCS is greater than Wipro. For instance, Wipro's revenue is around 200 billion this year, and whereas it is much more. So the Infosys and TCS, I'm not aware of the data, but it's much more. Secondly, sir,
So, tell me about the growth rate, revenue growth rate.
so data I'm currently not aware about, sir.
All right. But you should know, you are working with Wipro, you should know about your competitor. How are you growing? How are they growing?
So the number of employees and the growth rate is, sir.
No, the basic thing is the revenue, growth in revenue and the profit. These two things are very important. That is, what do you call it in the financial terms?
So the growth rate.
Top line and bottom line. What is top line and what is bottom line?
Sir, I'm not aware of the terms.
All right. Top line is the revenue and bottom line is the profit.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
That is what we do. All right. You come from Nainital.
Yes, sir.
Tell us something about Nainital. Do you think Nainital economy is improving and whether it is keeping pace with the ecology or it is detrimental to ecology?
So the pace growth of Nainital is definitely improving on various fronts. In agriculture front too, there has been growth. For instance, the horticulture products are increasing.
कौन सा horticulture product आप नैनीताल में लगाते हो?
So potato growth has been increasing in.
कहाँ लगाते हो नैनीताल में? किस जगह पे?
Sir, in the Nainital district, in the plainer areas, in the Golapar region and the Kathgodam region, the potato growth has increased. Similarly, sir, the soybean growth has also been taking place, and certain millets such as ragi and jhingora have been increasing. So that has
And what
impacted.
are the horticulture produce, the fruits which you grow in district Nainital?
Sir, the local fruits such as phulam is there, then there is kafal,
Can you tell
adu.
me the latest varieties of plum?
So varieties I'm not aware, sir.
All right. Okay. So you must be knowing about apples. Do you know what kind of temperature is required for apples?
Sir, can you please repeat the.
What kind of a temperature is required for apple grown?
So I'm not.
Apples, save call.
Okay. Sir, it requires cool temperature
What
to grow.
temperature?
So exact temperature, sir, I'll have to read. I'm not aware about the exact, but it is grown in higher altitude and cooler areas. So that is what I'm aware about, sir. Temperature, sir, I have to go through it.
All right. Okay. All right. So what should we do about the ecology of Nainital? Is it getting threatened?
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. The development that we see that has been taking place, ecology is taking a setback. For instance, sir, there has been large-scale deforestation due to the construction of roads. Moreover, sir, the animals and the wildlife has been threatened due to the construction. And thirdly, sir, due to increased tourist activities, there have been a lot of waste disposal issues.
So what should we do? Suppose you are the administrator of Nainital. What will you do to conserve the ecology of Nainital?
So may I take a few seconds?
Sure.
So few of the steps that I would take is, firstly, sir, a proper environment impact assessment would be taken place before construction of any any infrastructural activity. That would be my first step. Secondly, sir, construction of sewage treatment plants would be done, as well as, sir, the waste segregation should be done at the source itself. so that waste is not, it can be properly processed. Apart from that, sir, afforestation drives have to be carried out, and so that the landslides and disasters can be really
But
prevented.
which is the main contributing factor to the deterioration of ecology?
So can you please repeat the question?
Which is the most important factor for the deterioration of ecology in Nainital?
So the growth of infrastructure, sir.
Growth of infrastructure. So how can you check that? Can you put some kind of a ban on that?
Sir, I would not say putting ban would be a wise idea, but proper research have to be taken. For instance, role of geologists will come into play in this area, sir.
So that means only you will have little powerful buildings, more strengthened building, but you will have larger number of people staying there. The ecology cannot support more than a definite number of people over there.
Yes, sir.
If you have a larger number of people, naturally it will deteriorate. So don't you think it's a good idea to put a limit on the number of people who can live or who can visit Nainital every day?
So that step can be taken, and sir, it's been taken. For instance,
It's being taken only because of the intervention of the courts.
Yes, sir. So even the High Court is situated in Nainital, and there are proposals to bring down High Court in the planar areas, such as in Haldwani, due to which the crowd in Nainital could be reduced, which goes to High Court. And secondly, sir, in the peak tourist season, such as New Year or Christmas, there is a provision that people coming from various areas would be halted in Haldwani, the planar areas, and then a ferry service would be undertaken in that. So in this way,
whether it would be a good idea to have two high courts. Maybe the main high court can function from Haldwani, and then there can be a bench in Dehradun.
yes, sir.
Why don't we do that? People have to move all the way from Dehradun to Haldwani and Haldwani to Dehradun unnecessarily.
So the main provision for doing that was for the development of both the regions, the Kumaon as well as the Gadwal region, sir.
So you continue with both so there will be two benches, one bench in Haldwani, one bench in Dehradun.
That can be done, sir, but in various Supreme Court cases, Supreme Court itself said that increasing benches can reduce the power of Supreme Court and that can be held
We are
in.
not talking about the Supreme Court. We are talking about the High Court. UP has got two High Courts,
Yes, sir, that can be done.
Allahabad and Lucknow. So
That can be done, sir. It will definitely increase the reach of people, and the poor people who have to travel all the way from Gadwal to Kumaon, sir, they should have a bench in Dehradun, sir.
you learn swimming in Roorkee or you learn swimming in Nainital?
In Nainital, sir.
Where in Nainital?
So there's a river called Gola which passes near to my house, so there I learned it, sir.
All right. Okay. So which style of swimming do you do?
So mostly freestyle. I love doing freestyle, sir.
And you participated in swimming events in college.
Yes, sir.
So what was the outcome? Did you get any prize or something?
Sir, I bagged 4th position, sir, in the inter-hostel competition, sir.
All right. Okay. Tell me why Roorkee was selected for setting up our engineering college?
Sir, the history of Roorkee goes back to 1837, when there was a famine in the Ganga Doab region. So that time it was envisaged that we'll have to construct a Ganga canal from Haridwar to Kanpur region, so that again the famine is not occurring in that area. So that is why, sir,
famine जो हो तो अगर कर ही सकते हैं क्या कैनाल बनाने से famine थोड़ा खत्म हो जाएगा?
sir, no, the irrigation, it was
Intensity
yes, sir.
और या जो उसके outcomes होते हैं उसको आप mitigate कर सकते हैं because the water would be available.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what else?
So initially, sir, it was established as irrigation college, but later it was turned into a civil engineering college.
Alright.
So that
There is a religious place dedicated to Muslims near Roorkee. Can you name that? And what is it famous for?
sir, I'm not aware, sir.
प्राण कलिया शरीफ का भी नाम सुना आपने?
I've heard the name, yes, sir.
You didn't go there?
No, sir, I haven't.
All right. What did you learn in Roorkee other than academics?
So there are various things that I have learnt in Roorkee.
One
First,
most important thing which is very dear to your heart.
So the cultural diversity that I came in contact in Roorkee, because I had friends from various regions, be it from south or west and even the northeast. So I had made contact with various people, and I have learned a lot of things about their cultures, and that is what I cherish.
You did your metallurgical engineering from IIT Roorkee.
Yes, sir.
So what were you doing in Wipro as project manager? It was connected with metallurgy or connected with something else?
No, sir, it was connected with IT services, sir.
So why did you take up something which was connected with metallurgy?
Sir, it was during my college, because IIT Roorkee provided me an enabling environment to learn various computer languages. So though I was interested in metallurgy, but later, after talking with various seniors and various alumni of my college, I got to know that the career prospects in IT industry are better at graduation level during that time, sir. And that is the reason, sir, I chose IT industry as my profession, sir.
Tell me the achievement of ancient India in the area of metallurgy.
So may I take a few seconds, sir? So we had various achievements, such as the wood steel, sir, which was very prevalent in the South India during that time, which was one of the strongest steel made 2000 years ago.
What is steel did you say?
The wood steel.
Wood steel.
Yes,
What
wood.
exactly is wood steel?
Sir, it is martensite steel, which we call in technical terms, which is a very hardened form of steel. So it is very strong and hard in nature.
Give me an example of that.
Sir, it was. Can I say? So can you example of the wood steel?
कोई स्टैचू बना होगा, कोई चीज बना होगा ना एंशिएंट इंडिया में.
So there are various swords and weapons which were made during that time in that steel.
अच्छा, okay.
So then we had iron pillar, famous iron pillar in Mehroli, which is still
What is
rust free.
so special about the metallurgy of iron pillar of Mehroli?
So basically, it has higher phosphorus content, which goes into making of that pillar. So when phosphorus react with oxygen, it creates a protective layer and does not allow rust to form.
So
sir.
why didn't we have many more of such example where phosphorus was used?
Sir, increasing phosphorus content in iron reduces the strength and hardness of that iron, and so it could not be used for making instruments and weapons and other heavy machinery. That is why, sir, it was discontinued. But it gave.
How old is Delhi iron pillar?
So it was made in around 500 AD during Chandragupta's period. So around 1500 years ago, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Tanuj,
Yes, sir.
so recently lithium ore was found in 𝐼𝐶 district,
Yes, sir.
right? And which country has got the highest reserve of lithium?
So there's an area called ABC, which is Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile, which has the highest.
So what is the difference between lithium reserve found in those countries and the one that is found in India?
So the most prominent is that the lithium in those countries are found in liquid form. So it is easy to extract that lithium than what is found in 𝐼𝐶 district of.
Why it is easier to extract those, lithium?
So the water requirement which goes into the extraction of lithium is less when it is in liquid form, whereas it's a water intensive process.
What is it in liquid form?
So liquid form as in liquid states, the metal can exist in various states. So
This is a salt form. It's not a liquid form, it's a
Liquid.
salt pen, right? Why it is easier to extract from salt than from other forms of ore?
sir, I have to think. I'm not aware about that. So.
Since you have studied metallurgical engineering, tell me which all minerals, according to you, would turn out to be the game changer in future, say in 25-30 years?
So minerals. So first is titanium, which is a very light metal on one hand, whereas it is very strong on the other. So making various instruments such as aeroplanes as well as other heavy machinery, it can be useful. First is that. Second, sir, minerals as in which contains high level of uranium can be very important in producing nuclear energy. Second is uranium minerals. Third, sir, the rare earth metals that we found, which are very important in making of batteries, semiconductors, and the digital products which are very important for the future, sir. So these three, I believe, are very important.
Okay. Since you are from Uttarakhand, tell me, the recent resurgence of religious conflict in Uttarakhand, what is the reason behind it?
So I would beg to differ a little in this, sir. It was more of a rebellious nature against the state, but it does not had a communal overtone, sir. The reason for that was basically the anti-encroachment drive that was being undertaken, wherein a madrasa and a masjid was demolished because they had established in a Nazul land of government, which was illegal construction. That is why it took. It was basically against states. So it was not a communal event, I would say.
Okay. My last question to you. See, China has reached to our borders, right? They have built lots of tunnels and bridges and have done tremendous construction work. But when we are trying to build roads and tunnels, especially look at the tunnel collapses in Uttarakhand. Why we are facing such kind of challenges while Chinese have not faced such challenges?
So one of the most important is the geological and the geographical reason.
That's the same for both China and India?
It's a bit different, sir, because from Uttarakhand side, the altitude of Himalayas is quite steep, whereas since China lies in Tibet Plateau, so the steepness is really less. So it is easier to move in heavy materials from China's side rather than India. That is another region. And sir, our side is more earthquake-prone zone area in the Indian side, so zone 4 and zone 5, whereas it is much more stable, the Tibet Plateau, sir. This is the major reason for that, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Tanuj.
Yes, ma'am.
So, your optional is anthropology. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are from Uttarakhand.
Yes.
So, as you said, like overcrowding in Uttarakhand, this became the biggest challenge for the state also. So, how can we ensure, especially hilly areas, sustainability and safety of this type of tourist destination?
Firstly, with respect to sustainability, we have to make sure that proper surveys are being done before making up of roads and tunnels and other infrastructure. Secondly, ma'am, if there's a case for rehab, we have to displace certain people for building infrastructure, we'll have to make sure that they are given proper rehabilitation first. Thirdly, ma'am, we'll have to search for economic opportunities for those people so that the localized would benefit the most from tourist activities. So this is in terms of sustainability and economic sustainability for those people. And secondly, ma'am, in terms of safety, there have to be taken multiple steps. For instance, ma'am,
you have to give only 2 steps.
Ma'am, firstly, the police...
That is most important according to you.
Ma'am, the training and the motivation given to police personnel, wherein the police have to have frequent movement in those areas so that there are no unsecure places. Rapid patrols should be there. Firstly is that. Second, ma'am, I believe is the use of technology. So every tourist person visiting that area should install an app which will have a panic button in case of any negative activities happening with him or her. So the panic button can be pushed and the police can act very
These
frequently.
parameters is used for the safety concern of tourists.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and sir, what about sustainability?
Ma'am, for sustainability, I think afforestation drives are very much important so that we can preserve the soil of that region. First is that. Secondly, ma'am, we have to make sure that the wild animals living in those areas are not affected. So tourist activity should be carried out which has a low number of wild animals, so such that Corbett Park and other areas should not be affected. Second is that, ma'am. Apart from that, a proper sewage treatment plants have to be constructed so that the soil erosion and the soil pollution does not take place in that area. Sir.
Okay. So recently, Gyanpith Award announced. Maybe you are aware about that?
No, ma'am, I have not seen the awardees, ma'am.
So you are aware about that? What is Gyanpith Award?
Ma'am, I will have to check. I am not aware, ma'am.
Okay. So your hobby is to listening old Hindi song and folk song of Uttarakhand. So, Tanuj, tell me, because of rapid urbanization, globalization, and changing of our lifestyle, so we can see that it have led the decline of folk music or traditional music. So, what is your opinion, especially to preserve our folk musics or our traditional musics?
Yes, there has been a decline in these folk musics, but this is due to the various reasons, such as you rightly mentioned, globalization. But I think will have to protect the folk music and various music.
Okay, tell me that what is the importance of folk music?
First is the connection with one's culture. Folk music has...
From one generation to another generation.
Sorry, ma'am?
From one generation to another generation. It almost transfer from one generation to another generation. That's why it is important.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
First is cultural connectedness. Okay. Second is, ma'am, awareness regarding one's area, because folk music generally contains knowledge about one's geography, how forests and other things. It has knowledge about that. So these are the primary things.
So how can we protect our traditional music or folk music?
Ma'am, firstly, ma'am, various music industries are such as Coke Studio, which are promoting folk music nowadays, that can be promoted. Secondly, ma'am, the social media influencers such as...
So Uttarakhandi folk music also promoted by the Coke Studio?
Ma'am, not Coke Studio per se, but there has been YouTube channels and social media accounts which are promoting these folk music. And currently, ma'am, Uttarakhand folk music is doing good, not only in India, but also in entire world, ma'am. It is being promoted now.
Okay, now tell me, especially that because you are in Wipro, okay, so tell me potential challenges that Wipro may face.
Ma'am, the first is the decline in post-COVID-19, ma'am, that there has been decline in digital users. For instance, the digital, during COVID, it has been really shot up. But post that, it has been declining. Secondly, ma'am, there is a high number of layoffs that is being taking place. Thirdly, ma'am, if the...
So layoff is now become a culture of big edtech and big startup also.
Ma'am, it is happening across all the IT sector.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal for Wipro. AI is also?
AI, ma'am, yes, AI is also one thing, because we are lagging behind in AI right now. So catching up due to that technology has become very important for us, ma'am. So it might be an issue for that too. And ma'am, I think the R&D sector in Wipro is also a recent phenomena. It has only started when I joined it in 2018. That time only it had started. So that is also to catch up. Otherwise,
work on the R&D also.
Sorry, ma'am?
Means Wipro have to work on R&D
R&D sector also, ma'am. Yes, lagging behind in that too, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So you are from Uttarakhand and recently Uniform Civil Code.
Yes, sir.
Right? It was in news. So as far as UCC is concerned, as an administrator, what would be the pros and cons in UCC?
So there are various positives that UCC has. Sir, UCC is envisaged to bring in gender justice in the personal codes. Most of them are derogatory to women, and it will bring that. So it will uphold Article 14 of Indian Constitution. Secondly, sir, there are personal laws.
Which article?
14, sir, right to equality of everyone, sir. Secondly, sir, since there is a multiplicity of personal codes, it leads to various complexity in codes. So a uniform code will standardize those codes, and implementation would be really easy. Thirdly, sir, it will also lead to national integration as such, and that is also a positive step in right direction. And in multiple Supreme Court judgments, sir, Supreme Court has highlighted Shaira Bano and Triple Talaq case, a need for uniform civil code throughout the territory of India.
And cons?
So firstly is the secular principle of India. There is an apprehension by various political parties and opposition parties that it might intrude in the domain of secularism. And sir, I myself find it difficult how government would navigate through it. So that is an issue. And sir, in recent Uniform Civil Codes, tribals were kept out of the Uniform Civil Code in this present law. And I think that was the scope could have been broadened and they could have been included in that too, sir. So that is
Why
also,
they should have been included?
so because the main reason of bringing civil code was bringing gender parity and gender justice. So in tribal groups also there is a high level of patriarchy that is present. So bringing them under the ambit of civil code would have given gender justice to the tribal women also, sir. That is why I think they should also have been brought under the code, sir.
What is paleogenomics?
I'm sorry, sir.
Paleogenomics, there is a term in anthropology, paleogenomics.
So I cannot recall it right now. I'm really sorry, sir.
All right. Okay. What do you think that caste system is still relevant in contemporary world or contemporary nation?
Sir, caste system has currently turned from a social angle to a more political angle, and caste division that was initially present has been reducing. For instance, the occupational mobility has increased, and secondly, intercaste marriages have been increasing. So the original caste system
is not relevant in today's era.
So it is not relevant according to me because it bring in division between the people, and it has led to suppression of one community by another. So that is why I think it is not relevant any now. But sir, more recently we have seen that caste there has been politicization of caste, and it is turning into a political entity from social entity now, sir.
Okay. What are the major tribes of Uttarakhand?
So there are 5 major tribal groups, sir. First is Tharu and Boksa tribe who live in Tarai region of Uttarakhand. Then we have Jaunsari tribal group who lives in Jaunsar region. Then so we have Bhotia tribal groups who live in high altitudes of Himalayas. And finally we have a PVTG, Raji tribal group which live in Pithoragarh district, sir.
Raji is the smallest group. I asked major tribal groups.
There are 5. Raji is smaller one. PVTG, it's a PVTG, that is why it is very important to
There
preserve.
is a scheme for the development of PVTGs by PM Modi. Can you name that campaign or a scheme?
So in the last budget, it was initiated PVTG development program, and recently the name is changed, sir.
There was a campaign launched by Prime Minister Modi.
Sir, I have gone through it, but I'm currently not aware of the names.
I'll give you a proposition. You have to devise an index which will cater to the overall development of citizens rather than the economic growth. How would you devise that index?
So first is the social capital that any individual might has or community might has. So social capital is one thing I would want to index in our citizens. First is that. Secondly, sir, the bare necessities. If one person would have bare necessities such as a house, toilet, electricity. Second is that. Thirdly, sir, I would also like to create an index with respect to literacy and health sectors. I would have to check that thing. So these are the 3 parameters that I would.
Only 3 parameters. What about environment?
Yes, sir, that is also a very important parameter. Will have
As
to.
far as your state is concerned, it is very vulnerable,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes.
So environment must be included.
Yes, sir. So can I ask, सर इसको कैसे बैलेंस कैसे करना है? बिकॉज न्यूज़पेपर मोस्टली थोड़ा सा ओवरटोन्स उसी डायरेक्शन में होते हैं.
देखिए आप यू आर अ कॉन्शियस पर्सन, you should be able to find out what is political and what is constitutional, what is law, what is in the interest of larger number or larger section of the society, rather than getting into the specific. जैसे UCC में हमने पूछा नहीं बहुत ज़्यादा आप सेम सेक्स मैरिजेस or not same sex marriage, live in relationship kind of thing, and whole lot of other thing. Kya is a good idea or bad idea? Do you think that UCC is better than better code? Universal code is better than better code?
Sir,
better code का मतलब कि अगर code just because कि it is a universal code तो हिचलम लोग लगा दें. ये जो normal code जो better code है वो चलना चाहिए. What is better code? Which takes care of all the people of this country.
yes, sir.
Rather than bringing in universality in that. Think about it. There can be 2 views. You can argue both ways. But whenever you give your opinion, that should be based on critical analysis
Yes.
or balancing. All right.
Yes, sir.
Take care. Good luck to you.
Thank you so
All
much.
the
sir.
best.
Thank you so much, ma'am.